Welcome to Blitz and Bloom. My name is Tanya Henderson, and I'm the host. My guest today is John Bowman, poutine expert, Chipotle lover, and on every passing down, quarterbacks knew exactly where he was. 14 CFL seasons, all with Montreal, over 130 career sacks, 2 Grey Cups, the franchise's all-time sack leader, and now a member of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. But the story didn't start in Montreal. It started at Wingate University, a smaller program in North Carolina. Not a traditional powerhouse, not the pipeline everyone's watching. Every opportunity had to be earned. And in a league built on turnover and uncertainty, he became the constant. Coaches changed, rosters changed, the league evolved. And John stayed. Year after year, he adapted, he refined his craft, he found ways to remain dominant in a league that doesn't promise you tomorrow. Longevity like that isn't just talent. It's discipline, it's identity, and eventually it becomes legacy. But the story doesn't end there. Because when your identity has been built around being the one chasing the quarterback, what happens when the pads come off? John transitioned into coaching, taking everything he learned over 14 seasons and pouring it into the next generation. Today, this isn't just about sacks or championships. It's about evolution, leadership, and about who you become when the game asks you to change. John Bowman, welcome to Blitz and Bloom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That's a touching intro. So I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm really trying to put a lot of thought into it. I want to, show people as humans,
Mhm.
also show their accomplishments, which obviously we're all amazed by and very proud of and are phenomenal. But also, you guys are humans and all have this really amazing story and amazing character as to how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to start off with the most important question. And that is, because I know everyone's going to be wondering, what is your Chipotle order?
Chipotle order doesn't vary too much, and so I get the brown rice. I get a burrito bowl, obviously, brown rice, 1 chicken, 1 steak, corn, medium salsa, sour cream and cheese. I'm allergic to avocado. And I also get a side of the vinaigrette, and you pour that on the top. And then back in the day, before anybody knew, fajitas used to be on like a hidden menu. So we used to get chicken fajitas. Now they're popular, so they're on the regular menu. So it's not cool anymore.
So no more fajitas for you,
No more
just
fajitas,
burrito bowls?
just burrito bowl.
A very fun fact about John Bowman that he is in fact allergic to avocados.
It's listen, I tried it. I tried it when it became the go-to healthy fat probably 15 years ago, and it didn't sit well with me, and I put it down and I'm good.
At least you didn't learn to love it and then have it taken away from you. At least you just knew from the beginning it was no good, so
It
you
was
just
no
didn't
good.
have to miss out on it.
Exactly.
Now that we're through the important things, we'll go back to football.
Mhm.
I want to start with Wingate because I think that's a really pinnacle part of who you are and your career. So, when you were coming out of Wingate, did you immediately have ambitions of playing pro?
No, like you said, it's a D2 school. So our thing was play football, have some fun with your friends, go to work, yeah, I mean, get married, picket fence, backyard, and a dog. So I definitely didn't even playing after school wasn't on my radar. I didn't even play the first year I was out. I graduated. I got done playing football in 2003. I then I was supposed to graduate in '04, but I took a year off, and then I went back to school, became a student assistant, and then I was graduating that December. And my boy was like, "Nah, man, you need to play football," because I was All-American. I was like one of the first All-Americans at my school. I think I had like 70 tackles, 17 sacks my senior year. And then my buddy was like, "Nah, just come with me, try out for this arena team." So I took another semester off, and then I went to play arena, and then I went back and graduated after that, and I went and play arena again. Only reason why I heard of the CFL was because of my teammate Marcus Brady. He played quarterback for Toronto Argonauts, and he's like, "You might have some talent to go to Canada." And so I think 2006, a couple people called me, and I was like, "Okay, we'll try to make this happen." But never even thought about playing pro ball, getting paid for football, because coming from a smaller school, that's not on your radar unless you're just uber dominant. And I was my last year, but until then, I was okay.
Do you think actually, where do you think you would be and what do you think you would be doing had you not had that like pinnacle moment of essentially jumping into arena football, coming up to Canada and playing in the CFL?
That's a great question because I don't know. I went to school. I was lost at first, like a lot of people are. Then I found like I took a business class, and I was like, okay, I like this. So I switched my major from physical education. PE was actually hard in school. Yeah, I mean, all the sciences and all that stuff. I was like, yo, I got to find something different. So I took a business class and I changed my major to marketing. And I wanted to do something either in commercial marketing or advertisement or something like that. And that was my passion. Like I took a class and we had to go sell products in the mall or get people to buy and that kind of situation. And I fell in love with it, so I would probably be in marketing, working a 9 to 5 with a suit and a tie on somewhere.
It's a very different version of John Bowman.
It's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine. I can't imagine it, but I loved it, and that's what that was gonna be my career move, but I'm glad somebody had something better planned for me.
You know, that actually like goes into I see a lot of pieces in that with you coaching and how you even speak is like you do talk a lot about selling
Mhm.
and that's how you frame things. And now
For
that
sure.
I'm kind of making that connection, I see how much you actually use a marketing and a selling language in teaching D line.
I mean, but if you think about it, you're selling yourself. Whether me playing D line, like I gotta sell a move, or in order for this to work, I gotta show you this. So it's all about getting somebody to buy or think they're buying what you're selling. And that's why one of my best coaches used to always emphasize over exaggerate, sell this, sell this, sell this. And that's just and how I talk to guys is I mean, that's just it's just natural. I mean, that's just how I like talking.
What was the pinnacle moment? Like, what moment were you sitting with yourself and you realized that you were making that transition to playing professional football? And what was kind of going through your mind at that time?
Well, playing arena 2 wasn't it? Because we still had to work. But I wanna say after, like, coming to Canada in 2006, and I can't say I was good, but I was okay, I was salvageable, and battling I was, like, 6th string. I was 6th string, and I had already just finished a season in the arena, so I wasn't coming up here fresh leg like everybody else, and I came from a smaller school. These guys I'm going against guys who played for Clemson, Washington, Michigan, Alabama, and I'm seeing these guys like, "Oh my god." And then, training camp, I watched these guys leave, and it's the last week of camp, and our starting D tackle get hurt, and they like, "Hey, just put Bowman in there at D tackle for the game." So I went against Winnipeg. I probably had about 2 sacks in the preseason game, whooping butt, you know what I mean? And, they kept me, and I was like, "Whoa," they kept me over this guy from Michigan. And I wanna say that night when Jim Pop says, "Hey, you gonna be here?" I was like, "Okay." I sat by myself and I was like, "Alright, this is for real. I can't fake it no more. I can't fake like I wanna be here and act like I'm playing football no more." So I was on and off the roster or on and off the playing field my rookie year, and after that, probably from '07 to the end, it was just like my mindset was like, "I don't care. Like, let's go."
It's almost like when you go into something not having you came in with no expectations, and it
Mhm,
creates a very different energy and a different way to handle things, I think, than players who come in from those big programs and are
for
like
sure.
the guy, and then they come in, and when they're not the guy, they don't really
They
know how to
can't
handle
handle it.
that.
I mean, and I can't say because I don't know. I've never been to a big school. I think a lot of these guys get catered to. You know what I mean? You got 1,000 athletic trainers, you got people bringing your meals, you got people helping you with your classes. That ain't happening in D2. It's a day I had to take my own ankle or make my own ice bag and do all of this. So I knew what it was to fight, and nothing was ever given to me. So and, like, I'll be honest, I didn't come to Canada expecting to make it. Like, I was just like, "Alright, okay, I'm just gonna go have some fun, be in a town I never heard of, and just I'll go back home and go back to work and go back keep playing Arena 2 football my until my time was done." But it switched whenever I seen these guys getting cut, and I'm still here, and I was like, "Okay, they ain't built like me." Like, they probably had a better advantage, and my thing was I only played 1 year of high school, 1 year really of high school football. So, late bloomer or football didn't interest me at the beginning of my life like it did a lot of other guys.
It's almost like you just came up to Canada and accidentally became the sack leader.
Oh, I am kinda good, I think.
Oops, I became important.
Exactly. And that's how you know what? You ain't that far off because it's not like I was better than a lot of guys. I was just my mentality is different. Like, and I told my guys this last year, and they laughed. And I said, if Dave Dickinson said, "Hey, Bo, come out of retirement and play," I said I'd be the best guy on this team because that's just how my mind frame is. Yeah, of course they laugh, and I probably wouldn't, but you couldn't tell me I wouldn't because that's just how I am. And, I think they get the message how I am as a guy, and that's how I want them to be. So when I first started coaching, I try to get guys to that mindset of, I don't care who nobody is. I'm gonna be that dude. And that's how my mind frame was from the beginning of my career.
Going back to your start, when you're talking your rookie year was really the only year that you were not a fixture yet, you were on and off a little bit. What did you have to learn specifically about yourself in that first season?
Eh, I had to learn to I had to learn to 2 things, to lean on people and it's like your mentality. Yeah, I mean? So when I played D2, you might have a couple good guys on the team. It's not like at Alabama where everybody's a five-star. Yeah, I mean? D2, you might have one guy who flunked out of Tennessee and had to come to the team. So it's only really one elite dude, and the rest of us were just there. So I didn't really take it seriously, but I mean, I was just good. You know what I mean? So when I got to Canada, it wasn't about just being good. It's about, can you trust the other guys next to you? Or when I'm telling my D tackle, "Hey, Imma go inside, you gotta come outside." Is he gonna believe me or if is he not? My mentality went from, "Okay, I'm good, but whatever," to, "I'm unstoppable." You know what I mean? And that's how you gotta wake up. You can't wake up and doubt yourself. And some people gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, it's just Canada. Why you just" I don't care what it was. That was my mentality to everything, everything. You know what I mean? And so my mentality changed, my mindset changed, and I also learned to, like, this guy is good too. You know what I mean? Lean on him or ask somebody questions or you know what I mean? Because a lot of guys in Canada, especially Americans, they make it not because they're good, because they're smart also. So you gotta figure out how to not how to maneuver the system a little bit, what to do, when to do it, how to stand out, how to not to stand out too far. So there's a lot of things I learned from my old teammate Anwar Stewart that helped me become who I am, who I was, I guess.
Was there a rule or a transition with coming from the American game to the Canadian game that really humbled you off the bat?
Less holding for sure. No, uh, and the yard off was weird, 12 man is weird, but the roster size, it's 40 guys. I think it was like 41 guys when I came in. So it's not like you just playing defense. I was on kickoff, punt, punt return, kickoff return. I was on all four special teams, starting D end, and I had like 10 plays of offense a game. So it's no game I was leaving without playing 80, 90 plays a game. So the roster size and being on every special team, that took me a while to get used to for sure.
Obviously, since then, I don't think we really see players that are playing 80 snaps like you were back then. Do you
Not a lot.
think do you think that opportunity gave you an advantage in the development of your career at that time?
For sure. Because you're showing not just your ability to play defense, your ability to transition to offense or jump in on offense if they need you, and to dominate on special teams. Like I wasn't a tackle guy. I just go and wreck shop. Like wedge, go hit it, or double team with your guy, or that's a big dude. Send Bowman to go block him, and it's showing your willingness to give everything to your team. So, I mean, it's different now because you have guys who only do a certain amount of things. Not a lot of guys who play offense and defense. Not a lot of guys who start and play all four special teams. So it kind of your coach, I don't can't say doubt you, but they don't know what everything you can do. And the money is different now than what it used to be. So yeah, it definitely helped me. Got my cardio up for sure. And I slept well every night.
Do you have one particular special teams moment that's ingrained in your brain and you've not ever forgotten about?
Oh, for sure. I think one game we were playing the Toronto Argonauts and we needed a field goal. I think we were up by 7 or something like that, and we kicking a field goal to ice the game. It's like a minute something to go. Our kicker misses it, and in the CFL, you can kick it back if it's in the end zone. So they kicked it back. We kick it back. They kicked it back. We kick it back, and they tried to kick it again, and he missed it, and we jumped on it in the end zone for a touchdown. You talking about a chicken with his head cut off? I was just like, that one play was like 5 to 10 plays in one. I was exhausted. I was exhausted. But no, that to this day, I don't think it's been that many kickbacks since then, and that was a wild experience.
Yeah, I know. I think I've seen a like double kick, and I
Yeah.
remember in like that was in junior football, and I remember how amazing that was. So I can't even imagine the like chaos that ensues
And to
when you
get
go
to a
over that.
point where you're just, like, running in a 10-yard box because you don't know how far the kicker is, you don't wanna get, no yards on the situation because that gets turn the game, so you just running 15 yards this way, 15 yards that way, 15 yards this way, and then I was so tired at the end, the ball was literally, like, right next to my I was so tired, I couldn't even fall on the ball, and somebody just fell on it, and I was like, "Thank God," because we didn't need any more of that. That was bad.
That might I'm gonna have to pull up that play. That sounds like the most
Yeah.
chaotic play
I
in the
I
history
I
of the
think
CFL.
Rick might have showed it in training camp one year. It was us versus Toronto in Toronto. Had to be like 2009 or 10 or something like that. It was a long time ago.
When I graduated high school.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I had to throw it in at least once.
I was 4 years pro by then.
I didn't even know what football was then at all. CFL meant nothing to me. Football didn't exist.
I don't blame you.
So, going kind of from day one of year one to the end of your playing career, what changed in you from year one to year 14?
Physically,
Physically, mentally, emotionally?
I mean as a player, you go through stages. I'll say this. So when you first come in, I don't care what nobody says. You just want to make the team. You want to make the team, and then after you make the team, couple years, you want to make some money, and so you want to get your contract together. You want to be productive, and then in that situation, it graduates from making money to now I want to win as much as I can. It's not bad or it's not good, whatever it is, what it is. So I went from like, I wanted to make the team, so that drove me. And then in the beginning, so after the first couple of years, I was like, "All right, I gotta get paid for this." You know what I mean? In that period, it also was like, "Okay, I wanna win and I wanna get paid." And then at the end of my career, I just wanna win. I wanted to go to the Grey Cup, I wanted to win another championship, I want to ride off into the sunset. Um, so that kind of growth as a player transition for me, and for me, physically, like, my training, because I was blessed, I played almost in 3 decades of the CFL, you know what I mean? So, I went from the meathead generation to the band stretch generation. So, to be able to adapt and not be just strong, but I actually got faster towards the end of my career because I changed my training habits. I went from being just benching 365, squatting 500 because that was what we had to do to less weight, more reps, better mobility, better turnover, higher cardiovascular system, and just being able to show how I can evolve with the time. And so those things from a mental and a physicality standpoint kind of aided me.
So what you're saying is that you aged like fine whiskey.
Like fine whiskey, a good old Kentucky barrel.
Speaking of whiskey, if you had to be sponsored by one whiskey brand, who would it be?
I don't even is Crown Royal risky?
Yeah,
That Crown
that's
Royal.
right.
Crown Royal. Good old Gimli, Manitoba, baby. Are they
I'll never.
sponsoring this? Are they sponsoring your podcast?
They should. I should ask
Let's
them.
we'll tag them and say Bowman wants a sponsorship.
Yeah. I mean, we're supporting local, supporting Canadian.
Exactly,
I mean, it's
exactly.
it's it's exported all over the world, but it comes from Canada at the end of the day.
We just wanna when we ain't trying to be greedy, just send us a case.
Yep. And I
That's
mean,
it.
like, Rick Campbell's been promoting them more than anyone.
Every time we fly over Manitoba, "Hey, you see that? That's the whiskey plant. That's the whiskey plant. Alright, Rick, got you."
Exactly. We need to continue that narrative, and maybe one day we'll break into that whiskey sponsorship market.
For sure.
So through that transition and all of those phases, you talk about going from, wanting to make the team to wanting to get paid to wanting to have championships to essentially just ending up on a very high note. What point throughout your career did you realize that you weren't just surviving anymore and that you were actually one of the guys setting the standard?
Um, so great question. I wanna say after first, second, third, after my 6, 7, after 2008, I think I only had like 9, 10 sacks or something like that, maybe 8. But I actually like my film was great, and I'm not like listen, I like to toot my horn, but I had great film. So I think I had like 12 NFL workouts lined up, and I went to one, and it was so long that I told Jim, I was like, Jim, I'm not, my NFL dream is done. Just bring me back, treat me respectfully, and I'm good. So I think after that, I went on a run of like 4 or 5 years where I had 12 sacks in a row, and then I had messed up my knee, and I came back, and then I went on another 5, 6-year run of 10 years of 10 or more sacks. So I wanna say like '08 into the '09 season, I was like, "Okay, I'm here.
I love that you were at the NFL workouts and you just determined that.
I never like, we were in Tampa in December, it's 100 degrees, and this guy got me working out. It's only 2 D linemen there, and I think we had a 2-hour workout at least, and I'm looking at the other D lineman, I was like, "Man, good luck, 'cause this ain't me." And then I didn't go to the other workouts because I thought they were all the same, and I didn't find out till after that they're all different. And the guy at the time, he was assistant general manager, so he wasn't the deal. I think the team was gone. They were playing in like Oakland or something like that. So the D line coach wasn't there, or I mean, he was the only guy there, and so he was running the drills, and he put us through the gauntlet. And I was like, oh yeah, the NFL is different. And plus, like you're just finishing a whole season, like training camp. I think back then we had like 3 games or something. I don't remember, but training camp 2 bye weeks, full 18-game season, and we went to the Grey Cup. So you're out of gas. And I think this is like December right before Christmas, and this guy just put us through the wood shop. And I was like, "Yeah, I can't do this." And that was it. And so I hit up Jim Pop. I was like, "Yeah, the NFL, it's just not for me." And he's like, "Cool. What do you want?" And we made it happen.
We'll obviously go into coaching a little bit more in depth, but when it comes to like as a player, you kind of recognize this isn't really for me. Do you obviously you haven't coached in the NFL yet, but do you have a little bit of that mindset as well? Because that environment and that routine and that year to year thing is quite different than the CFL.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say like you don't know until you get a shot.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure being a coach and being on a staff is different than having their jobs rely on somebody. Like, I can get why you put somebody through a ringer because my livelihood depends on how good you are. But I don't know. I think I will be fine in NFL as a coach. So, um, because it's a little different than coming in as a
Mm.
player.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. It's a very different energy. You're not there to prove in that 2 hours
Yeah.
who
I
you
mean,
are and
yeah,
what you're
for
doing.
sure. You're gonna you. I think guys I think they just covered NFL jobs so hard that it's tough for them to let a new guy in. Uh, not that I'm vouching for it, I'm just saying anybody. Uh, but coaching is coaching. As long as you know what you're saying, knowing what you're trying to accomplish as a defensive unit, no matter if you're in Canada, Europe, whatever, it's not like you gotta have good coaching, you gotta be able to coach, but the majority of it runs on the players. Like, you could be the best coach ever, but if you don't have good players, it don't matter. So, yeah, it's a little different.
It's very tomato, tomato.
Tomato with a little bit of salt on
Yeah, a little bit extra flavor, full spice.
it.
So, going back to you as a player before we really dive into the coaching piece, throughout your career, was there a particular emotion that fueled your game?
Wow. I mean, I don't know how this is gonna sound because everybody has the underdog mentality or the overlook mentality. But again, it transitioned. I went from being fueled, being motivated by people hating or not giving me a fair shot to playing for people that rooted for me. Because if you play the game a long time, I went from being nobody to being hated to loved by everybody except for people in Winnipeg. Once you get past the point where everybody's hating on you now, everybody loves you. If you only play for the hate motivation, how do you play when nobody hates you anymore? even now as a coach, I tell them, don't cut out the nonsense. Play for the people who love you, who care for you. Play for your homies that don't even know where Canada is. They think it's overseas somewhere. I mean, play for the people who are there for you, because at the end of the day, they're gonna be for you. They're gonna be there for you whether you suck or whether you're great. Yeah, I mean, they if you get cut, your homeboys are the first ones to say, "Yeah, that coach screwed you." Yeah, I mean, they don't care why you don't know if you suck or not. I mean, they just, "Yeah, that coach screwed you." Yeah, man, he did. So if you play for the hate mentality or haters, yeah, Imma show them, Imma prove them wrong, that gets old, it gets tiring, okay, like, every day, you gotta get out there, like, you gotta grind already, but if you just play for the haters or the doubters, I mean, it's just gonna get old. So for me, I went from my first couple years, again, probably by year 6, after my 3rd year in a row of having 12 sacks, there was minimal hate coming anymore, minimal doubt. So, again, I had to pivot. Okay, my brother, my dad, my mom, my aunt, my uncle who drove me to he almost brought me to Canada, you know what I mean, if I wanted to. He went and picked up my passport or my birth certificate, get my passport. So I started playing for everybody, my homeboys who started playing in Pee Wee who didn't make it, but every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday when we on, they on Facebook. Oh yeah, we clicking in, watching John Bowman, watching our boy. So that became my fuel. And I wish I'd have known that earlier because there's a lot less distraction or a lot less looking for hate. Like, I don't believe in bullet-borne material. Oh, don't give them nothing to talk about. Hey, say what you want to say. You know what I mean? I believe in playing for your homies, playing for your family, playing for the people that got you there. And so my mentality again after about year 5 or 6 was, all right, my brother, my sisters, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, everybody that helped me get to where I was, and that's how I did it.
I think that's a really powerful perspective because I think in a sport like football, the underdog mentality and like the hate and the like anger piece of things is so heavily driven as a
Mhm.
narrative. And I remember when I started playing, people would be like, "Oh, like get angry, get angry." And I was like, "I don't have anything to be angry about. Like I'm I'm happy to be here." I saw other people get fired up by it, but it just never resonated with me. There's moments where you're on the field and you're like, yeah, like I didn't like that and now I'm upset and I'm going to use that as a little bit of fuel, but I just found that narrative so exhausting.
It's so exhausting. And then, like, my coach, Mike Sinclair, he used to say, "Listen, if you play for revenge or for hating or whatever, doubting, that's gonna last about 10 plays. But if you play for something bigger, if you play for a different mentality, a different, I say spiritual, but something inside of you that can't nobody take away, that carries you through. So the outside noise is gonna last you until you get gassed out. What's left? So playing for your people, your homeboy that blew his knee out that they could never play no more, but always had your back. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be there forever. So use that instead of the negative rhetoric that you get.
It's very much along the lines of the concept of, everything in your life is happening for you, not to you. And it's
Mhm.
kind of that same perspective. It's, that
For sure.
first piece is like, "Ugh, everything's happening to me and I'm so angry about it. Why is this all happening? I need to prove everyone wrong." Versus it's like all these opportunities are in front of me for me so that I
Mhm.
can take advantage of them and make the best out of everything.
For sure. I mean, 'cause, you can't change people's minds. I don't think you can. If somebody doesn't like you, they don't like you. If you do something good and they smile, "Oh, thank you." They still don't like you, they're just appreciative of the moment. Playing for the people that genuinely care for you or there for you or respect you or took care of you. I had a cousin, w my f during that semester I took off, he used to send me $20 a week because I had no job. "Here's 20, here's 20, here's 20. Go get something to eat." Let me use that as motivation instead of this guy who I've never met who said I suck.
It's actually, when you put it that way, it's actually a little bit sad that we gravitate towards so much focus on that person that said one thing one time versus the people in our lives who've been there for us since day one.
Yeah, and it's easy. I think it's anger is easy. It's an easy emotion. Like if you look online, all the negative rhetoric's going on. It's easy, so easy. You can find one small comment. Oh, f that. I'm pissed. I mean, it's hard to just ignore that and just focus on what brings you joy. And like, of course, I went through a period where I that was my fuel. But the moment I shot, I was like, let me focus on my peace. I just took off.
You must have physically felt the like weight
Yeah,
drop off your shoulders.
for sure. You're not all wound up. You're not frowning all the time. You're not just pissed off at the world. You just fine. All right, this makes me happy. This energizes me. That's gonna be my fuel. If you worry about what burdens you, who pissed you off, it's just such a heavy weight to carry. And then, like I said, when it stops, what's your next fuel? You got to go find it. Oh, who said this? Who said that? Three Down Nation, or back in the day, it was CFL uh, columns or whatever it was. Like, you got to go find it. So I went from looking forward to this is what it's in front of me. I have this. This is my joy. This is my fuel.
I know I talked to VA last week about that big narrative last year between him and Nate and how the media painted it as they hate each other. And this is them proving that each team made the right decision, and this whole big narrative that was so angry. But when you know the two of them, it's comedic to read
Yeah,
that.
the furthest thing.
And there are so many times where you could see the media is trying to like fire him up, and he's just like, Nate's great.
No, exactly. I mean, and like I said, it's easy to be angry. Angry sells tickets. I mean, again, I'm not bad talking to CFL because it's my employer, but it's their job to sell tickets. And what better way? And you shouldn't have to because it's either a playoff game or a close rivalry. But what better way to get tickets when you drum up anger from one side, drum up anger from the other side? Now you got a clash and everybody hates each other. That's gonna make people tune in. It's harder to sell tickets when everybody loves each other and we're all friends. So that's just my opinion. But I know VA was my teammate. It's probably only 5 guys still left in the league that were my teammates. So I know how I watched VA grow from a knucklehead into what he is today. And of course, being around Nate for 3 years, you just know what kind of stand up guy he is. It's no hate at all. No hate.
No. I think that's what is so neat about my goals with this podcast, is to just give a different platform and a different perspective as to how these athletes exist and show up, how they interact with each other, how they interact with me is something that really goes a long way. And I think even in the first 2 episodes, there's already been so many moments that people have reached out and they're like, oh, I didn't know that about them, or like, that's a very unique perspective. And I'm excited to see that grow, because I do think traditional media sources, like you said, yes, it is all about selling. But I think there's different ways to sell. And I
For sure.
think, piggybacking off your whole concept of going from like the negative to the positive, I think we have the capacity to have just as much success focusing on
Let
the positives.
let's
It's
see
just,
if positive sells. Let's be happy for each other. Let's see people grow. Let's see if that sells. You know what I mean? Everybody's different, and like I said, anger, especially nowadays, it seems like everybody wants to be angry or everybody wants to be right, and if they're not right or if you don't agree with them, you're wrong or you're this and that. So for me, I don't even only time I get upset is when somebody goes in the wrong gap. Yeah.
that is valid. That is true. I can back that up. we've talked about your career as a player, and I think one of the pinnacle moments that really tied all of that together was your induction into the Hall of Fame. When you hear John Bowman, Hall of Famer, what does that actually feel like internally?
I mean, when I so and I'm not bragging, but I'm in 3. So when I went in for my college, I was like, "Okay, cool." And then when I went in for my conference, I was like, "Big deal." But when you get into a Hall of Fame that's been around in a league that's been around for 100 plus years, you're just like it just like again, I don't take it for granted because I know where I came from. I know I wasn't supposed to be here. So even now when I go to Hamilton, after I put my bags in the locker room, the first place I go is upstairs to go find my bus because for me it's it's a dream. It's still a dream. Like I was good. I was that good, and it like it means a lot because I knew what I played for. When I literally say I think in my speech, I didn't name everybody, but all my teammates from every team I played on. I named all my brothers and first cousins by name. We all in there. Like everybody is in there together. So when they say John Bowman in the Hall of Fame, it's John Bowman and thousands of others. So that's why it's special for me because I knew who I brought in there with me, and that kind of seeing their face or seeing my twin brother there and my dad, and that made it more special for me.
I know we've talked a little bit about that whole experience, and even I know talking to Maurice from head office about, she organizes all of that and just hearing
Mhm,
her reflect on it. It's such an amazing experience, and it really, I think sometimes we externally kind of downplay the Hall of Fame thing, especially, the catch 22 of a league that's been around for 100 years means that there is also a lot of people in the Hall of Fame, but it doesn't make any one person less important or any one accomplishment less amazing.
agreed, and I don't I think there's only 150 guys, so it's not like I think the NFL is way more, but they got way more teams. If anybody I don't care what you do, if you're if you're a garbage collector, and that's a great job, you wanna be the best. I'm not saying you wanna be recognized, but you wanna be the best at what you do. Like, if I chose in my life to work at a restaurant, I wanna be the best dang chef I can be. That's just my mentality, and as a player, I wanna be my best because I want everybody out there to enjoy me playing. If I'm a chef, I wanna be the best 'cause I want everybody to enjoy my food. So, whether it's CFL, NFL, this league, that league, college, if you were one of the best at it, period, oh my god, like, how many people play football? In the world. Yeah, I mean, millions. So if you're one of the best and the CFL been around 100 plus years, probably been a million players in the CFL history. Yeah, I mean, so if you're one of the guys that you can say, "Yeah, I got a bronze statue of my head in the Hall of Fame," I think that's pretty cool. And I went in there with guys who waited. There's a guy in my class, I think he got finished playing in 72. You know what I mean? So, he waited, but do you think his family or his loved ones said, "Dang, man, that don't mean nothing. It took you 50 years to get here." No! I mean, just for me, like, I was a first ballot, so okay, it was special, but that doesn't take away from him, somebody who waited 40 plus years to get there because it's a special moment. Because at the end of the day, we both Hall of Famers, you know what I mean? I can say I was first ballot, but my ring and my jacket look just like his ring and jacket.
I like that it very much comes full circle. It's, you start off as the late bloomer, but you end with
With a
speed.
bang. You know
Yeah.
what? I didn't have all the early bumps and bruises on my knees and back. I can still squat a little bit, I can still run a little bit, so I'm just fat now. But I didn't take all the early injuries, like kids. I met guys who I thought were amazing, but they didn't make it out of high school or they played a couple years in college and that was it because I can't say their body couldn't handle. I just think I didn't have that many hits until later in my career.
Came in with low mileage.
Exactly. A good old Honda Civic.
And you just keep going. See, you still could come out. You could come out of retirement.
No, no way. I see guys get hit now, and I'm just like, "Good for them."
You did your time. You
I
did your
did.
time.
I did.
And now you are full on coach Bowman from 3 years with the BC Lions to going into your second year with the Calgary Stampeders. When the pads came off officially, what part of you struggled the most in that transition to being in the coach's office?
I mean, the action, the locker room, like, I actually thought and it wasn't as hard as I thought, but, like, my first couple weeks, I used to go down to the locker room and just sit there and hear the noise and smell the smells and just whatever, just because that's all I knew, and that, like, knowing that, because when you're done playing, there's always something in your head, be like, "Oh, I can still play. I don't care what nobody say." But the moment you put that whistle on and you just yelling at it's over. So knowing that it was over, I thought it was gonna be a whole lot harder, transitioning and getting away from it. But it's actually not been that hard because again, I don't wanna get hit no more. I don't wanna hit anybody no more. So, yeah, the first couple weeks, not of the off season because that was obviously we were putting the playbook together and getting to learn each other. But when training camp started, you just like, "Oh, man, can I do this?" I mean, there's a sense of doubt because I my I can coach, but a lot of things I did came from a mindset, and if these guys aren't reciprocal of my mindset, nothing when I say as coaching matters because it all depends on your mentality. So, yeah, the first couple weeks of training camp was hard, but after that, it became easy. Once you see guys running into people, hitting people, and breathing with snot coming out their nose, you're like, "Yeah, I'm done."
You know, you really killed my next question of did you miss being the one to make the play? But you don't miss hitting people or being hit,
No.
so no.
No, 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 no. I mean, if it's like when somebody seals a game with a sack, or if I see somebody do a move that we practice on as it works, I'm like, "Yeah, that's me playing." Like, I still play, but I'm just not getting tired. You know what I mean? I'm not getting hurt. So, like, I still play game day. I'm out there, you know how I am on the sideline. I'm out there trying to get it going, but as far as running and jumping, nah, it's over.
I know you mentioned that first couple weeks of training camp, that little bit of doubt. I know the one, I guess you could say, situation or event that happened was when you were sick and you missed a
Uh,
meeting. For me, it was also a very shocking scenario of people having this perspective of you not being there as like a negative thing. And then another piece of that was I remember when someone told you, Bowman, don't ever say that you can't do something in front of your players, which was something that very early on with working with you that I very much appreciated about you was you saying, I might not know, and I probably can't do this, or I wasn't good at this. And, you know, to hear someone who had been in the league for a very long time go against that, and it was very shocking for me. And like, would you say that kind of those instances peeked
no,
into
for
that doubt
sure.
a little bit?
I mean, I'll just start from when I remember the day I got sick. And me, I'm blind as a bat. I couldn't put my contacts in, so I'm not gonna go to a practice or a meeting, excuse me, and I can't see. Like I was so sick, I could not put my contacts in. And just to hear the backlash from a couple individuals, I'm like, it's a point where being tough I get it. We gotta be tough. Football is tough, but we gotta be smart. It's guys out here who's trying to make a team. Would I wanna bring my sickness around them? Or if I physically am unable to be somewhere, why would I go there and look, in shambles in front of everybody only to be ridiculed even further? So, like, it's a different mindset, and again, new school to old school. Old school guys, they, "Oh, let's grind." I mean, 36-hour days, 10 cups of coffee. I don't drink coffee. So, and me being at the beginning of my career, being in that grind to the end of exhaustion, to growing and seeing quality work, but less quantity, and being more efficient with your time. Yeah, it can made me angry, but I'm like, if these guys think this is missing one meeting was bad, what I must be in the wrong business. So that definitely made me a little upset, and it wasn't even just at that moment. It's just that they kept it going on for a couple of days of camp. I'm like, okay, let it go, let it go. But the D line's gonna be fine. And then, and so you talk about telling players I can't do something or I don't know how to. Being vulnerable is one of the qualities of life. If your players think you know everything, the moment you mess something up, they like, "Yeah, you dummy, you." I mean, so if you don't know something, or you don't know how to coach something, or you don't know how to explain something, you go get knowledge on it. Just how I did as a player. If I didn't know, "Hey, Stu, how you do that move?" "Oh, this is how I do it." I didn't just go out there and try to do it because I was gonna look stupid. So I'm all about vulnerability, like, and it brings on love and appreciation, because your guys know, we coached together my first year at the D line. If I can be vulnerable, let my guard down, then they're gonna be vulnerable and accept what I got to give. And if you can't, then you're just gonna have a rebellion. So, I'm the first person to say I don't know everything, and if I don't, I'll find out. I'll come back to you. So if you get to a point in coaching where you can't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know that," then you either probably need to get out of coaching or you're wrong.
Very well said. And I mean, the evidence backs it up. I always say, the D line were the players across the board. Not to say that other players weren't welcoming and like kind, but the D line from the beginning really made me feel welcome. And throughout the years, I built some really great bonds with the D line and still have a lot of those. And I still had that with other positions, but there was just a different energy in that coaching room than every other room.
The D line is D line and receiver rooms are the same. You got usually 10 to 12 guys, and they're all from different places. So nobody thinks the same. So it's our job as a D-line coach, and I think as a receiver coach, to see how can we get these different minds, different personalities, different abilities to work on one accord. So in our room, like our rookie year, we had Josh Banks, who didn't say a word, but he was a hammer. We had Tim Bonner, who always talked, who couldn't shut up. We
All
had
the
Betts.
words.
Yeah, I mean, Betts, they probably spoke 3 words of English, and one of them was D-line, and you know what I mean, and Menard, and Sione, and Tebow. So, it's how do we get these guys to operate on one kinda thing? And to go back to my previous point, being vulnerable, showing them nobody's perfect. I can I remember one day, I think me and Sione, or can't remember who it was. We were watching some old tape of me playing, and I was like, "Hey, you see, I messed up here. I messed up there. So I don't know everything. You can be a first ballot Hall of Famer and not know everything." It's like, the quality of D line. This is why I love D line, because it's how can everybody blend and get together to make one thing happen.
Think the DBs need to
DBs,
take no, no, no. I was going to
no,
say
no,
the
the
DBs
DBs
need to
are
take a
divas.
lesson from the D line.
They are 12 different personalities, and they stayed 12 different personalities.
Agreed. I can confirm that as true. When you started coaching, what surprised you the most about going from player to coach?
Hmm, I can't say the hours because I already knew the hours gonna be crazy. Um, I would say the level, and I've been around good, like, we're just talking about from my first year, being around coaches who care. Rick Campbell is a dude who really cared about the players. And I'm not saying Dave cares about his players, but just talking about our time together. Rick Campbell would go out of his way to institute the mental health situation where he had an app that he didn't care about. We didn't care if you win or not. He wasn't looking at it, but it's there for you. Or if it was a long week, the players got 3 days off. Or if it's a short week, they still got a day off. Uh, Taking care of the coaches. If we got 2 days extra in the week, he gave the coaches a day off. You know what I mean? So just seeing that level of empathy for people probably shocked me. 'Cause I always thought coaches were just machines. They ain't care. Whatever, like just go run in the gap or just go make a sack or go make a tackle or do this assignment. But when you get around a guy who genuinely cares for his players and seeing that with Dave also, you see their level of gratitude to what the players are given. And I didn't know coaches had that ability. And I can't say I'm similar in a way where I don't ride guys. Like I'm not gonna MF a guy if he's trying hard and he can't do something. We're just gonna try to find another way to do it. So I can say, even though me and Rick were only together for a couple of years, I learned that very quick. You know what I mean? Don't bash a guy. Show him how to do it or see what he can do and work on that. I mean, make that his best ability. So seeing the level of empathy and the level of care that coaches have for players, that probably shocked me the most. Because a lot of coaches say, "Oh no, I love you. It's coming from a place of love." Yeah, right. But seeing it, like giving guys tools, he brought in can't remember her name,
Serena.
Serena. They brought in the therapist, and she's like, "Hey guys, this is just me and you. Whenever y'all want quality time, the Mindspace app, hit me up." And just seeing cake days or seeing icy days, you know what I mean, on a hot Vancouver day. It's just stuff like that where you're just like, "Oh man." Oh, like giving guys, you land, just go relax. Don't worry about nothing. Well, I'll see y'all in the morning. And so it's like seeing that early was shocking.
I think we both got very spoiled with Rick being our first head coach
Yeah.
and spoiled, but also in a way, then it's kind of a shock when you hear other experiences and how things work in other places. And I mean, like one moment to touch on Rick being so empathetic and understanding and very human and caring about the players is I remember when the O lineman fainted at practice. And he was like, you know what? We're not practicing. Like, that's a lot. Everyone go home, make sure you're good. And most coaches aren't making that call
No,
because
they
most
just
coaches are like, we have a game, we got to go.
they're moving the line a couple yards down.
But he could feel that energy was just because you walked in, like, it was just like heavy and just recognizing and, taking those chances to give people what they need, even though it's maybe not necessarily ideal for the situation, can actually move things a lot longer forward and a lot better forward than I mean, even thinking, what was that one week we came off the short week and then went and played Winnipeg and played really, really well. And it was like, no, like take those days off still versus in a lot of situations that wouldn't have happened, but it
A
obviously
lot of
still
a
works.
lot of especially old school coach, and Rick's been coaching a long time. This is growth. Like, I'm sure at the beginning of his career, he wasn't like that. Then he's developed his own mentality, developed his own mindset. Okay, I wanna get a lot out of the guys, but I can't beat them into the ground. How do you get a lot? You treat guys with respect. You throw them a bone. You don't beat them to the dirt. And it's a lot the same here with Dave. Dave is gonna give guys days off. He's gonna demand the most out of you. Practices are shorter, they're intense. different format from Rick. I mean, we practice, then we have meetings right after. He wants you in those things, but when it's your time off, go relax, go work out, go home, go relax, put your feet up. He making sure that he changed the food program here because they got rated a D or F or something 2 years ago, and the food apparently was better last year. So Rick and Dave, I've been blessed to be around two good dudes who genuinely care about their players, and it's not just phony stuff because when we're in these coaches meeting, it's never, "Oh, man, that player, he's so bad," or this or that. You're like, "Hey, he's not doing this right, but what can he do right?" You know what I mean? Let's try to make that work.
Yeah. It's very much the mentality of treating players like an investment versus a disposable.
Yeah. Hey, if you buy a Maserati, you ain't out there on the highway ripping and running it down every day. You take it out for a cruise, fill it up with premium, put it back in the garage.
Exactly. Exactly. It goes a long way. It just, you get out of people what you put in. And if you don't put anything in, you're not going to get much out, no matter
Nope,
what. And in a league where these guys are already playing so much for the love of the game because the money is certainly not really
not the
there
same.
to the capacity and to like what they truly deserve, I think that's something that has to be remembered and you have to make it up in different ways. And I think coaches like you and coaches like Rick have done a really good job at finding that balance of expecting a lot out of players, but also meeting them where they're at and giving them what they need as well. Going to the type of coach that you are and you strive to become, is there a certain type of coach that you ideally are shooting to be, and also a type of coach that you refuse to be?
So yeah, so like we talk about our Ricks and our Daves, not to say players coach because those guys, you get labeled as a players coach, they think you're a pushover. These guys aren't pushovers, they just care about their players. So yeah, I mean, and I try to do that. Like, you see me coach Betts, and we're just using Betts because he's pretty good. When he came off of 0 sacks when we got there, I didn't treat him bad. I talk to Betts every day. "Hey, this is what you can do. Believe in yourself. I got you. Imma show you some different things." And he went from 0 to 7 or 8 to 17, 18 the next year. You know what I mean? And I can't say, and I don't take credit for it. I take credit for getting him to believe in himself or just pushing him to a different mind frame than somebody who would probably just yell, "Hey, get some sacks, get some sacks, get some sacks." Football ain't about sacks. Playing D line ain't about sacks. It's about winning your rep. And so I want to teach guys to focus on the controllables. And I say it, you heard me say it. When you set your goals, and I learned this from a guy, and I can't even remember his name, or a lady, can't remember. Goals should be self control. So when guys I'm like, "Hey, what's your goal for the year?" "I want to get 10 sacks. I want to be all this, all that." Can't control that, man. "I want to make the team. I want to be all star." You can't control that. I remember one year I had 12 sacks. I didn't make all star. I had 19. I didn't even get voted for MOP. Control what you control. I want to work on my level. I want to get my energy, make sure I don't mess up in games. I want to be a kind of coach that don't just affect your ability, but your mental. Because we say this game is 90% mental, but we don't focus on that. Like, I mentally work out. Like, I'm making you think. Like, hey, change your mentality, this and that. So I want to be that kind of coach that invests in the players. Not a players coach, not a pushover, but I'm gonna treat them with respect as long as they demand it. And as a coach, of course, I'm not gonna say any names, but I've been around coaches that took all the credit and took none of the blame, who would point fingers at the players or air somebody out or bench somebody or take them out of the game because what they're teaching or the way they're teaching isn't constructive or something For instance, I was benched because I was doing what was told, but I wasn't doing it that way because I physically my body wouldn't do it that way. But I would still get the job done. I don't want to be that coach. Like I'll be the first. You've been in a meeting with me. All right, guys, I messed up. I told you this wrong. This is how we're gonna do it now. I mean, I'm gonna give some players some blame now. If you messed up, you messed up. But don't. I'm not gonna be a guy who takes all of the credit and none of the blame. So I mean, I've been on both ends of the spectrum where I was treated like with my DC here, who was my DC when I played my last year. They treated me like I was Zeus. Like that's Bowman. Yeah, I mean, relax. So, and I've been treated like dog crap, where I was on starting and I was doing scout team. Yeah, I mean, so obviously you take it in stride, but I want to be a guy who gets the most out of his guys, but not by belittling them, but by lifting up
By actually coaching,
by
which I
coaching.
think is a crazy concept that I would argue there isn't always a lot of coaching
I
at
agree.
times in professional sports. It's telling
Hmm.
and like you should know this, but to actually recognize. And I remember, I think it was our first year. I remember we had a conversation where you were like surprised and confused almost that players didn't just know certain things. It was like, oh, like they don't just all know these things. And it's like, no, they probably never learned them.
Yeah,
And
that's
like
true.
such a light bulb moment in your head of like, oh, yeah. Like, and I think a lot of coaches just assume that all of these players come in with all of this knowledge because they know it. And it's all this taken for granted knowledge when if you actually just stop and ask, like, hey, do you know what this means?
And you're right. And I remember the conversation. It's because again, levels of football. I played at a small level, so I didn't rely, and I wasn't super fast or super strong, so I didn't rely on my athletic ability. These guys are athletic freaks. These guys are 270 running 4.5 40s. I was smarter than a lot of guys. My mental capacity was different. So I could pick up a playbook, know it, and my best coach, Mike Sinclair, if you know the playbook inside out, you know where you can cheat. Yeah, I mean, you know where you can sneak something at. If you don't know the playbook, then you out of luck. You got to do what the picture say. So I learned the playbook. I didn't learn the picture. So for me, it took me not a while. It just took me a little bit to realize, all right, everybody learns differently. So that's why I started doing verbal, so drawing on the board, start showing on the projector because then you watch the film because everybody learns differently. Um, but some things as a coach, you would want people to know the basic stuff, but you can't act like that. You got to assume, hey, this guy, you got to assume everybody's dumb. And I'm not saying everybody is, but you got to assume that and teach it from the beginning. So it's a fine line, and that's part of the thrill of coaching because when you teach somebody something and you see the light bulb go off. You see them like, oh, and then you're like, ah, yeah, now you get it. So that's one of the things I take pride in.
Always have said it as, football has so many different dialects. And when we bring a group of people together, it's, yeah, we're all speaking football, but one word to one person can mean something completely different to the other. So and so might understand it to be this way, and so might think it's that way. And then you understand it to be this way. But when they do it that way, you're like, why aren't you doing this properly? And they were doing it to what they thought it was.
Hmm.
So, and I know when I was coaching at the combine, that was something I talked to the D line right off the bat. I was like, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and know that questions are good. And if no one's asking questions, then none of you are learning because I can assure you that not all of you in this room know everything about
Everything.
football.
Yeah.
And I really push the narrative of it looks good when you ask questions.
Hmm.
That gets attention on you. It means that you're processing things, you're thinking about things. And I think that's a very underrated approach of just players processing, asking questions, getting that feedback so that they can actually let it stick in their head.
For sure. For sure. And, like, I can't say, like, it puts you on the path because if my coach tells me to stick a gap, back in the day when I came up, sticking gap mean I'm slanting, getting vertical. But now, sticking the gap means staying in my gap, pressing it, holding it. So if I'm sticking my gap, I'm like, "Bro, what are you doing?" "Well, coach, I didn't know you just said stick my gap." So explaining what sticking a gap means now is different than what it was eons ago when I started playing. But I love it's just when guys ask questions as a coach, you can't take it as, oh, I'm explaining it wrong or these guys are just so simple. You take it as they're engaged and they want to do it right.
And I think that's almost where I can see some players are hesitant to ask questions because I think it's been taught to them as it's a negative, or they've had coaches that react, because I've had coaches where when I ask a question of why do we do this, not because I'm questioning their intelligence, but because I'm actually just trying to understand like why this is what we're doing. I've had coaches get very upset and they just shut down and they take it as an offensive thing, which it by no means is, but it takes a coach taking their ego off the shelf and just leveling to where those players are at and having an open and vulnerable conversation. We're going to shift gears a little bit and we're going to jump into a little section before we get to our final question. This is our section of slightly unhinged rapid fire questions.
Let me hold on.
So I drink some water. You might need it. So it is one sentence only or less and no explanation. Most toxic football trait that helped your career.
Triple dry scoop in C4.
Starting off strong. The habit you're trying to pass down to players.
Mental fortitude.
The hardest hit to your ego in your career.
Getting benched for 2 games.
A belief about yourself that you had to outgrow.
That I was the toughest guy mentally.
Part of you that had to die for you to last 14 seasons.
My party days.
It's very responsible of you. A current player that has a little bit of John Bowman dog in him.
Sione.
The biggest waste of energy in a football week.
Rundown day.
A moment you knew you were feared.
2008 Grey Cup.
Quarterback you enjoyed hitting a little extra.
I sacked this guy the most, so I'll say Kevin Glenn.
A young player mistake you secretly understand.
Assuming you're the smartest guy in the room.
Something people assume about Hall of Famers that isn't true.
That were unapproachable.
Pettiest motivation that ever fueled a game.
2019 spat with Andrew Harris.
That was a good one. You've handled that the best so far. TJ was thrown so many times because he thinks so much.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, those guys are young. I'm settled, so I got them on the front of my brain.
That is true. So far, it is 1-2 for coaches to players on the slightly unhinged rapid fire. Okay, we're going to slow it down. Less rapid fire. One final question. If you could sit down with the younger version of yourself coming out of Wingate, what would you tell him that he wouldn't want to hear?
I'll probably tell myself you're not the best now, even though I was pretty good. But if you grind and let go of the petty stuff, you can be amazing.
That's a good note to end on. So inspirational. But it's so simple. It's that simple.
I mean, when you boil down stuff, a lot of responses come from how you feel. And I can't say angry, but I just felt overlooked so much in my life that it just made me pissed off at everything. I mean, I'd handle it well, but if I can just tell myself that, I think I would've never mind, I was already good, but yeah.
John Bowman, I will not keep you much later. I know you are tired and you want to go to bed. Thank you so much for coming on. And I'm very excited to share this episode with the world, all of your wisdom, all of your experience, all of your anecdotes. It's going to be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.